This is Ranjit from tech2buzz.com, and in this video we are going to do the full review for this new Android phone by Samsung known as the Samsung Galaxy Grand. And this is a dual SIM Android phone by Samsung, and it sports a massive 5-inch screen. As you can see, it's pretty big, and if I place my Galaxy Nexus, it still looks smaller. And the first impressions that I had after holding this handset is that it looks like a bigger S3, or you could say a smaller Note 2. And before proceeding with the review, I want to thank Faisal Communications for providing this unit for review. And we can open up this back cover. Let me open up the same. And the specs on this phone are also pretty good. Samsung did a good job apart from a few things. And as you can see, it's a dual SIM Android phone. You can attach one SIM over here and the second SIM over here. Out of these two SIMs, one SIM can be 3G enabled and the other will be 2G enabled. And the battery that Samsung supplied is a 2100 milliampere battery, and this is the only little bit of a con that I have with this phone. Ideally, I would have loved to have at least a 2500 milliampere battery, considering that it's a dual SIM Android phone. But with I did all my testing with a single SIM, and with a single SIM and with moderate usage, you can last this phone for one full working day. Again, also the specs, as I said, are pretty good. We have a 8 megapixel rear facing camera with LED flash, and this is opening for the speakerphone, and it's pretty loud. Samsung branding. It's the standard glossy plastic that we have seen in the Samsung Galaxy S3, and on the front we have a 2 megapixel shooter, and we can also make video calls and Skype calls. I did test it with Skype calls. Let me switch on the phone now. And as you can see, it says Samsung Galaxy Grand, also known as the GT 19082, and it's going to quickly boot. By the time it boots, let me give you a physical overview. On the top we have this standard 3.5mm headphone jack, and on this end we have the power on off button, nothing else over here, a chrome style finish. On the bottom we have this micro USB slot that will be used for charging and syncing. The microphone hole is also over here, and on this end we just have the volume rocker. And moving towards the front, we have the ambient light sensor, proximity sensor, the 2 megapixel camera, the S Duos branding. Let me unlock the phone. Samsung, a nice earpiece grill. And moving towards the bottom, we have the standard Samsung home button that we have seen in other Samsung phones. The menu button is over here and the back button is over here. Also out of the box, this phone comes with Android version 4.1, that's Jelly Bean. Let me show you the same. And if we go to about the phone, as you can see, it runs on the Android version 4.1.2, and also that's also nice. Out of the box, the internal storage provided on this phone is 8 GB, but out of that you just get about, let me show you the storage now. You get about 3.9 GB. But you also have an option of adding a micro SD card. As I showed the back, you can add a micro SD card up to 64 GB. So in my opinion, storage should not be a problem with this phone. So let me get out of the same. Also, this phone does support the ambient light sensor. If you go to the brightness, as you can see, we have the auto brightness, and I'm happy to say that even outdoors, if you just keep it on auto brightness, the screen is legible outdoors also. That's a nice thing. Again, it's not a super AMOLED screen, but again, as you can see, the screen quality that Samsung has provided is pretty good. The only little con that I have is the resolution that Samsung has provided. It's the standard 480 by 800. So as this is a 5-inch screen, the PPI is not that impressive. It's just 187 PPI. But again, in my day-to-day testing, I would say I didn't find any issues with the phone. Also, the color reproduction is very good. I'll show you that later on when I play back some videos. The only con that I face is now, as we are connected to our Wi-Fi network, in web pages, when you zoom out completely, let us go to tech2buzz.com, and this also, let me show you the keyboard. As you can see, it's pretty wide, and we also have this number tray over here, so it's pretty easy to use. So no issues regarding using the keyboard. It's loading our Tech2Buzz website, and as you can see, it loaded it pretty quickly in my opinion. And let's open up the story. Only con that I felt is while it's completely zoomed out like this, as the PPI is a little bit low, you need to zoom in for the text to be legible. Otherwise, I have no problems, and as you can see, the screen is also pretty clear. Let's move to this orientation, and that's also not a problem. And this is a flash video, and let's try to play it back. And it could play it back without any issues. As you can see, no issues. And also in terms of web browsing, I was really impressed. I could do the web browsing pretty fast on this. Let's go to news.com. It's a pretty heavy website. And as you can see, it loaded also pretty quickly. The pinch to zoom is not as smooth, I would say, till the page is loading, but once the page is loaded, that's also smooth. So let's try to open some other story. And again, if you notice, it loaded it pretty quickly. Again, pinch to zoom is also nice, crisp. And I would say in terms of web browsing, I don't have any issues with the phone. It's silky smooth to operate. And so in terms of web browsing, I would say I have no issues with this phone. Also, the specs on this phone are pretty good. It comes with a 1.2 GHz dual core processor. It has 1 GB of RAM, and also it has a dedicated GPU, which was surprisingly pretty good. I'll talk about it later in the benchmarks. In terms of customization, it runs on the Samsung TouchWiz Nature UI, and we do get this gesture by which you can access all the 7 home screens if you require. And let me get out. And we also have, this is the app tray, and you can also use this gesture to get to all the screens of the app tray. And Samsung has also added this quick toggles button over here, and you can also adjust the brightness directly from here, so that's a nice touch. And as I said earlier, the phone comes with 1 GB of RAM, and also we do get this handy tray here from which you can quickly launch applications. So, and you can edit the applications if you want. For example, if you click here, you can edit the applications. So that's for the quick tray. And let me show you the RAM available. By default, you get 1 GB of RAM, and if you hold this home button for a while, you get this ICS style tray, and you can swipe out all the applications. And from here, if you hold this home button, you can also access Google Now if you want. So that's Google Now is there, as it's a jelly bean. So let me get out, and let's kill all the applications by invoking this advanced task killer. And let's kill all the applications now, and now all applications are dead. Let me swipe these also away, and let's run the Android system info. And as you can see, we are interested in the RAM. Out of that 1 GB, we get a healthy 460 MB of RAM that is free. And in my day-to-day testing with the phone, because of this huge amount of RAM that is free, the phone was very fluid to use, and I did not face any issues like lag or anything like that. The phone is extremely fluid to use. Also, coming to the camera, Samsung did a good job here, and the rear-facing camera provided on this is an 8 megapixel shooter with the LED flash. I actually I'm going to make another dedicated video regarding the camera performance, but I have to say the camera performance is also pretty good. It's not the best, I would say, but I would say it's above average. And you do get all the options like touch to focus, and also it can record video in full 1080p, so that's a good thing. I have made a separate video regarding the camera performance, so you can check out that for the details regarding camera performance. And I have to say, even the video recording capabilities outdoors is really good with this camera. So I was pretty impressed with the camera. And the front facing camera is a 2 megapixel shooter, and I tested it with applications like Skype for etc. for video calling, and again that was also a good experience. So I have no issues with the camera. It's above average, again not the best, but I would say definitely above average, and great for considering the price at which this phone sells. In India, this phone sells for approximately around 21,000. So again, that's a great price for a 5-inch dual SIM Android phone. Now moving to some of the benchmarks, let us start with the NinaMark 2, and this will test the GPU performance of the phone. And I ran it earlier also, and I got a great score. And as you can see, it is almost maxing out at 60 FPS. That's the max that NinaMark 2 can do. And I also tested this phone with quite a few games. I tried it with casual games like Angry Birds, etc. No issues. And I even tried it with heavy games like Nova 3, Shadowrun multiplayer, etc. And it ran great. So again, I can easily say that this phone is also great for gaming. And the NinaMark test is almost done. And as you can see, we get an impressive score of 58. Let me publish it. And according to NinaMark, the GPU is from Broadcom Video Core 4, and it supports Opal GL. So let me get out of this one. I also ran the quadrant benchmark. Let me show you the same. I'm not going to run it again, I ran it earlier, but let me just show you some of the system info. And as you can see, it's a dual core processor, clocked at 1.2 gigahertz. And again, let me also show you the sensors. And as you can see, Samsung did not skimp on the sensors. We have gravity, accelerator, gyroscope, magnetic field sensor, proximity sensor, a vector sensor. So Samsung did not skimp on the sensors provided. And I actually ran this quadrant. I have saved the score, so let me show you the same. Again, I got a very healthy score here, and as you can see, let me open up this one. We got a score of 3685, which is a very impressive score for a dual core Android phone. For example, the Galaxy Nexus that I have gets a score of around 2600 to 2700. So again, a score of 2685 for this phone is very impressive. Let me give you a breakup. Total is 3685. Out of that, the CPU got a score of 5275. Memory is 3428. IO is 6981. 2D is 338 and 3D is 2405. So again, very impressive score. And let's also run one more benchmark. That's the ANTTU benchmark. And I'm just going to skip and directly show you the scores, because this benchmark does take quite a while to complete all the tests. So I'll directly show you the scores, and let me run the full benchmarks now. And the benchmarking is done, and we got a total score of 5857. And let's submit it. Some error. Let's forget about it. And as you can see, the score is 5857. Let me also show you the detailed scores. So these are the detailed scores. You can just pause the screen to get an idea regarding the same. So again, impressive benchmarks also. Now let me show you some of the games, and let's run this new one that's called Temple Run 2, and this also runs without any issues on this phone. Again, it's not a Super AMOLED screen, as I said earlier also, but again, the color quality I would say is really good, and the colors are very punchy. And I also watched some videos on this, I'll show you, and they play very well. The contrast is really good. So Samsung did a good job regarding the screen, and as you can see, again, it's really smooth, no issues. And this is what I had the experience with casual gaming on this phone. So this is the new Temple Run game. Let me get out now, and let's kill that one also. Let's kill all these applications that are running unnecessarily. Also, I ran Dead Trigger, that also ran fine. And I also, as I said earlier, I tested it with the Shadowrun, the multiplayer, and that also ran fine. So in terms of gaming also, it's pretty good. The only little con that I faced is if you do heavy gaming like this, the battery tends to drain pretty quickly, I would say. And we are loading this Dead Trigger game now, and as you can see, I just want you to see the smoothness. It's how smooth it is. It's really smooth. And this game ran buttery smooth, I would say, on this phone. No issues regarding the same. And we just killed zombies in this game. Also, as I said, I also tested with Shadowrun multiplayer, and that also ran fine. And even Nova Thor or 3 ran fine. So again, in terms of gaming also, this phone impressed me pretty much. I didn't expect it to be this good for gaming, but it's pretty good in my opinion. So let's get out of this gaming. And also, as I said, Samsung did not skimp on sensors. And let me show you the Compass app. It runs fine, and as you can see, it tracks fine. So again, pretty nice. Also, multi-touch I did test, and I got a mixed result. I was getting 9 multi-touch points, so that's kind of strange. I was expecting it to get 10, but no, I get about 9. So that's for the multi-touch. Again, no issues, excellent, I would say. Let me show you the dialer. This is the standard dialer that we are seeing on the other Samsung phones, and that's the same with this one. Let me dial this number 1, 2, 3, and with this, and let's open the speakerphone.
Now get instant help 24/7 to answer all your queries. Simply dial star.
So as you can see, the speaker phone volume is also pretty nice, so no issues regarding the same. And this is the SMS app. This is the SMS, and let me show you the same again. As I said, the keyboard is pretty wide, so it's very easy to type on this phone. You don't even have to go in this mode most of the time because it's pretty wide in portrait mode itself. So no issues regarding typing also. Now coming to video playback also, I didn't face any issues with the phone. It was very good. Let me show you the default video player. We get this video player, and this is a 1080p clip that I downloaded. So let's play this one. Let's start it from start. And as you can see, it plays it without any issues. There's no skipping of frames or anything like that. And mind you, this is a pretty high bitrate 1080p clip. And also we do get this pop-out feature with this default player, and you can continue your work, and as you can see, the video is playing here. So again, that's a pretty good feature that we have. Let me get out of this one. And I also installed a third-party video player like MX Player. Oops, let's work it again. And this is a 720p clip. I'm going to start over, and again, as you can see, it will play it back without any issues. And also pay particular attention to the blacks. Again, though it's not a Super AMOLED screen, then also the blacks are pretty good, and I love the contrast. Again, this is a high bit 720p video clip, and as you can see, it plays it without any issues. So in terms of video playback, even 1080p video clips it could play back. So again, I would say it's excellent for playing back videos, and again, it's gorgeous to watch on a 5-inch screen. So what do I feel about this Samsung Galaxy Grand? I feel Samsung has done a great job. I thought it would be a compromise phone like the earlier Samsung Galaxy S Duos, which had a weak processor and it had lag issues, but this new Galaxy Grand is excellent. I did not face any issues like lag or anything, and also as you saw, it's great for gaming. And overall, I'm pretty impressed with this phone. Also, the camera performance is, I would say, pretty good. Not the best, but pretty good, I would say. So overall, it's a great phone. The only con I would see is the 2100 milliampere battery. Again, if you're a normal user, not a very heavy user, it can last you one full working day. But if you want to use it with 2 SIMs and if you're a heavy user, you have to charge it after 14-15 hours. So that's the only little con that I have. Apart from that, considering the price point at which this phone sells in India, that's just around 21,000, and you get this great, 5-inch screen. This is a great phone, I would say. The only thing, again, I would say, again, as it's a 5-inch screen, before purchasing this phone, just go to a store and handle it and see if it's comfortable in your hand. Because again, with these 5-inch screens, I have seen that some people love it and some people hate it. So again, before making the purchase, I would say that go to a physical store and check out the phone physically if you're comfortable with the same. This product gets a big thumbs up from me considering the price to performance ratio. I hope you found this video review helpful. That's it for now. This is Ranjit from tech2buzz.com, and I hope to see you in my next video.